You're listening to The Kelly Slusher Show with your host, Kelly Slusher.
Welcome to this meditation. We're going to reach a state of enlightenment like you've never felt before. All of your chakras will be aligned so much that you won't even feel them anymore. We are now ascending to the 11,000th dimension. Now take a deep breath and imagine that you're sitting in Walmart. There's a sale going on and it's aligning your chakras. All the savings and the discounts that you're feeling aligns your chakras to the 7,000th dimension. And when you're there, you think about what you're gonna have for dinner. Don't think about dinner. Think about a snack and what you're gonna have when you go home, because your chakras will be more aligned when you think about all these things. And now we're going higher to a dimension that you can't even know. Now we're in Taco Bell. What do you want from the menu that will align your chakras to the highest dimension? Inside of the outside. And when you're inside, you'll never be without. Go deep within. And somewhere in the galaxy, you will save and get a lot of discounts on your car detailing. And all of the things that you do will pay off because it will align your chakras. Namaste off my couch.
Hello, you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time of day it is when you're listening to this. It's morning for me. I actually just woke up and so that sketch that I just played is something that I improv'd, and it's inspired by some of these ridiculous, like, new agey people, and it's mainly coming from a place of when people don't know what they're really doing, and they get, I don't know, they're just, there was this one time when I was, I said, there's this guy that was performing one time at an open mic, and he had this, like, anyway, he gets up there and he's got this cheesy hand drum thing, and he's like, I just want to, I've just really been working on, losing the self. And that's the thing, like, the new age people, like, you got to lose the self. Like, really? Do you know what you're saying? Like, if you lose yourself, like, when people go crazy, they lose themselves. Like, you don't never want to lose yourself. Don't ever fall for that. Yeah. So I live in this area that I moved back to, and I had lived here before, and there's a lot of that type of thing where people get uber, like, just, they're always like crystals and aligning their chakras. And, I've gotten into all that, and, I like a pretty rock, a pretty crystal, sure, but I don't take it into that level, where, like, well, this is going to change my life. And then there's also I just think it's kind of cheesy. And there's a lot of ego involved with it too. So, like, the guys with, like, the man buns, and they're just, like, walking around like, I'm gonna heal you. I'm a shaman. And anyway, it's coming from that. So I think it's funny. So sorry to offend anyone, but I doubt my listeners really are into that, because it's just a certain type of person, and I'm not that person. I mean, I doubt you're going to come to this podcast going, wait a minute. Although I will say that I have done meditations, guided meditations, and meditating is kind of fun. I'm not fun, but it's important too. Like, I'm not dissing meditation in itself, because I definitely have done guided meditations, but very few and far between. And they're very particular about, I don't do them anymore, but I have, and they've helped me, I'm not saying those are wrong, but there's so many people that do it. And I just think that a lot of people just don't know what they're doing. Anyway, so I was laying in bed and I woke up and I had a dream that there was this baby, and it was like maybe like one, like maybe it was not even that old. Like it could sit up, and it was like this chubby little, it was a little boy baby. And someone was like, yeah, this baby has no mom. Like, no one wants this baby. And if, I feel like in real life I would do the same thing. Like, oh my gosh, I'll love it. Well, I guess I have a baby now. Like, I feel like I would do that if someone's like, no one wants this baby. I'd be like, well, I guess I'll take the baby. So in the dream, I was like, well, okay, I'll take the baby. I guess. I'm just gonna have to figure this out. And they're like, well, there's this one thing. The baby chain smokes. And then I looked over, and like the ashtray was just full of cigarettes. They're like, yeah. He's like, and I'm like, what? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, he's like real heavy smoker. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't be around all that smoke all the time. So then I like didn't take the baby. So I've recently thought, and then I was laying in bed like, oh, I have to get up. I really want to do the podcast. I'm like, oh, I just wish someone would make me coffee. And I live by myself. I've got my own little place. And oh, I wish someone would make me coffee. And then it comes back to the idea, which I had last week. I was thinking about how it'd be rad to have like a butler. And it's a whole thing, actually, if you look it up. Like, it's butlery is a thing. And I'm just saying there's modern butlers, and there's people that actually hire them, and these men go to school to be butlers. It's a whole thing. But then I'm thinking, my place is like, I don't have a big place. I wouldn't have a spare room, and this is like a tiny little apartment. And I just think about like, where would he stay? Like sleep in the bathtub. But then I was thinking, no, he could come to the door. He's got a key, so he sees I'm sleeping. He comes in, he makes my coffee. He does all the stuff, coffee, makes me breakfast, puts it on a tray, and then he taps my shoulder. He's like, Kelly. And I'm like, oh, Winston, I didn't even hear you come in. Oh, you've made my coffee exactly the way I like it. I like that light brown color with my coffee. And, the idea of just like always having somebody there, like to make me something or to do, like, oh, I've made you food. I did your laundry, and like, it'd be so amazing. Don't tell me you guys don't want a butler. And of course their name has to be Winston or Bartholomew or Ferguson or, yeah, I just think that'd be really funny to have a butler. What else want to talk about? Oh, and then back to the guided meditation. Of course, it was all improv. So it just in the moment. So my brain likes to go to opposites because comedy is about opposites, I think. Like, that's what makes comedy so funny is the unexpected and like the opposite of what you would expect in that moment. So the unexpected comedy came through as you're now in Taco Bell. You're now in Walmart. You're reaching the highest state of consciousness. And now you're in Walmart. Like, that could not be a lower state of consciousness. And now you're in Taco Bell. What do you want from the menu? It's like, now you're in like you're in this high dimension. And like, now you're like, in a higher state of consciousness. You're floating. And now you're in Taco Bell. That's where, and that's just like the improv where it's like, boom. And if you're enjoying my podcast, The Kelly Slusher Show, please give me a 5-star rating review and like, subscribe, and do all the fun things that help me grow this. I have this on YouTube, The Kelly Slusher Show, and also it's streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other places because you would know that because you're listening. But please help me grow this. Okay, I'll play you something else I made. I got this notification that one of my Facebook pages was going to be deleted because of, what was it? Intellectual infringement. And so I looked up, instead of looking up the scam, I looked up what intellectual infringement was, and it's like, like I've stolen something that has already existed. And I'm looking at my Facebook page, and I'm very consciously aware of sharing only original stuff. Like everything I do is all about originality, and there's multiple reasons for that. One, I think it's important to be original as you can be yourself. And the other is that the more original that you are, the less your content's going to get, flagged. So, and so then I freak out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to delete my Facebook page. And I know I don't do a lot on there, and it's like one of my bigger pages. Like I grew it to like 7,000 people, and I don't do a lot on it. And actually now I'm like, gosh, I really got to use that. So it kind of was good that it happened. But I actually believed it. And it looked like it was coming from Facebook. So then I finally got smart and Googled and did an internet search on the wordage, just like what it had said, and then it comes up like scam, because it prompts you to a page that asks you to put in your login, your date of birth, and that was a red flag anyway, and which I didn't do. And I already thought, well, if Facebook is going to do this, they can bite me. I'm not going to beg for my page. Please. There's other sources of getting your stuff in the world. So anyway, I don't really like using Facebook. I wish I did. I really like Instagram, but Instagram is kind of weird to me. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't see my posts. I think it's like that on Facebook too. They want you to like boost everything and pay for everything and play their game. But someday there'll be some kind of social media where it just goes out and you don't have to play their game. But anyway, I really do like the format of Instagram. I am going to be crossing over to doing some TikTok stuff, which has been so hard for me because there's something about TikTok. I don't know why, but it gives me like high anxiety. Like I go on there and it's just the videos are just like, I don't know, it's meant for that. It's like stimulus, but it's stimulating, but it overstimulates me. So I can't go on TikTok. I just like start getting like panic or something. So, but it'd be really good for my videos. It would be really a good thing to do in this next year to help me grow my podcast and to help me grow my music videos and stuff, because I do all kinds of visual stuff. I'm also doing more of my YouTube stuff. So I'm getting more into that. Now, one of the biggest things for me is that it's easy for me to hide behind a microphone and to just do a podcast and just throw it out there and just see, and okay, people will listen, and not do a whole lot with it because it's fun for me. It's not something I want to like stress about or think about, but it's something that I do and I'm passionate about, that I really do need to take more efforts to get it into the world. That being said, it means that I have to like kind of make more like videos of myself, and like I've mentioned before, believe it or not, that's harder for me. I'm more like behind the scenes kind of person. I don't like sticking my face out in the world. I don't like everyone staring at me. It's very contradictive to somebody who does what I do. Like it doesn't make sense. Most people who do these kind of things, they like to be seen. They like to be, and it's not that I don't like to be seen. I just don't always want the energy. I don't always want that attention. Like I could close the door, which I do, and shut the world out, and just do my own thing. But because I am an entertainer, it's just my gift. I've been entertaining since I was a kid. Anytime I've done any kind of acting, it's been very well received. It's part of what I do. So anyway, I've got to kind of break through, I guess, and just do it, and just like, if it traumatizes me, then I go just take a hike in the woods and, I'll be fine. That's kind of like my plan. So anyway, back to the scammer. I made this stupid sketch because I was like thinking about like, what would be kind of funny way to react to a scammer? Like if I actually picked up the call, because I also get a ton of those, we all get those like scam likelies. If you have the iPhone, they say like scam likely. So you never pick it up. Oh, scam likely. How you doing? But I think it'd be really funny to actually talk to them and say, "Oh, scammers, you're doing so good at scamming people. I'm so proud of you." So let's play this.
I wanna tell all the scammers that call me, they're doing such a fine job, freaking me out, freaking everybody out. Dear scammers, you're doing such a good job, freaking me out when I pick up my phone.
Yeah, what comes around goes around. It's really true. Seriously. I mean, people think, oh, these people, they do bad things to people. It always comes back. Like, no matter what you do, it's just the law of the universe. Like, what goes up comes down. I hear people say that, like, well, it's not fair. This person's done this and they've done that. It always comes back. It might not come back immediately. It always comes back. I promise you. So be a good person. Love others and, even if it's hard. The other day, I was talking to some older friends of mine, this couple. They're lovely. And I was hanging out, and I was telling them, I said, I don't have a TV, and I'm really glad. I don't have it. I'm like one of the only people that don't have like a big screen in my house, in my space. I don't care. I don't care to watch television. And it really freaks people out. They're like, what? Like, I don't know. I just, if I've got my little iPad, I got my computer. If I want to watch something, I just watch it on that, which I do. I watch it's not like I don't, but I don't sit there and like scam like, oh, it's on TV, I've never been that way. Never cared. So he wanted to send me an email of something. He's like, he was like, whoa, no TV. Like, couldn't even wrap his head around that. And he was like, well, do you have an email? I'm like, how is it just because I don't have a television and watch TV that I wouldn't have an email address? It's really funny. Like, somehow he's associating the fact that he's like, oh, she must be a cave woman living in her cave. She doesn't have cable. She's not watching like the nightly news, and she's not doing any of that. I was in a thrift store once, and the clerk was helping a customer. I don't know what the guy said. He said something about television. Like, oh, well, I don't. They're like, did you see what happened on TV? Blah, blah. And they're like, well, I don't watch television. And he's like, what do you do? I'm like, wow, that's what people think. They literally do. Like the mainstream, normal regs, that's what they do. If you don't have a TV, I'm not dissing you if you got one. It's just a personal preference. I just don't care. Like, I've got so many things I love to do and projects, and I like free thought, like the whole idea of television. Hello. They're going to tell me what to think. They're not going to tell me what to look at. I'm going to decide that. But, I know not everyone's like me, and I'm not criticizing you if you watch television, but I just don't care. I don't know. There's been times when I'll like turn on, if I'm at like a vacation rental, or like I've stayed in Airbnbs and, they'll have a TV, or I'll be like a guest somewhere and I watch television, and you scan through and I'm like, ooh, what's the current thing? Oh, a bunch of same old stuff, Oh, I'm kind of surprised that Portlandia has their own, like, it wasn't their own station, but they were like playing a bunch of Portlandia, and I was like, that's interesting because they're, kind of, I guess they're mainstream now, It's good to see that. And, tons of kitchen nightmares. Hell's Kitchen. It's always like nightmares, or like wedding disasters, or people just love watching those disaster shows. It's so funny. It's like, why? And then I was thinking, okay, what is your embarrassing song and music that you listen to, the secret? I know we have got little secret songs that probably no one knows that we like. And I'm going to reveal mine. And maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but my secret songs, a couple of them that I've been re-listening to recently that no one has known, is that I actually like Slim Shady, Eminem. And I'm like, why do I like this? And it's so cringy. Like the lyrics are just so cringy. And I'll blast it. Like I'll like be driving down the road listening to like the real Slim Shady. Or listening to Without Me. I don't get that heavy into his music, but like his hits. And I remember when it first came out, and I was living in Philly, and I had this little car, and here I'm like this indie girl, and just put out like my little indie album from Elephant Records, and hung out with all the indie kids, still a hipster, and then like I'd be in my car like blasting Eminem. And I'm like, I know everything about this is wrong. He's totally sexist. He says things that he shouldn't say. And but I figured out why. It's because I like the beat, and I love beats. I love And so what they do is, if you listen to it, it's just a backing track of a really good beat. So I think he makes, if it's him, I don't know enough about him, but I think he's really good at making those just really heavy hitting, just like, because that one's like and it just sounds good, and all the little sounds going on, like it sounds really good, and his voices sound so cool with it. I'm sorry, you guys, you're like, oh my God, I hate you, but no, it does. Like he does have a good tone, like with it. It's just the lyrics, and he's like cocky. But then there's that part of me that listens to the Without Me, or like the cockiness, because I got a bit of that in me where I'm like, I know I'm so amazing, like there is that aspect that alongside with, not completely there, but there's a little bit of that going on, like I know I'm rad, like I was in the thrift store yesterday and feeling myself, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling this, and I was just like kind of just happy and kind of doing a little happy dance, and I was at the gym, and I was working out, and I was listening to, not that, but I was just like, ooh, yeah, working. I felt so good to exercise, and I had my headphones on. And then all of a sudden, this like loud, just like siren, like, what do you call it? Like it's a siren. It's like a warning, an alarm. That's the word I'm looking for. An alarm starts going off. And there's like there's quite a few people in the gym. And what I do, and I've done this before in any situation like that, I assess, I pull my headphone off, and I listen to the message. If it's fire, okay, I need to leave. I'm really close to the exit. Maybe I could even finish my workout before the place catches on too much fire. Because I'm like, I came all the way to the gym. I'm going to get this workout. Like I am not leaving now. But I watched people, and I put my headphones back on, continued it, and I could barely hear it because I had my music on. But I watched people like leave, like they like panic, like people are panicking, like grabbing their stuff and just like running out the door. And I'm like, it was just someone had like set off an alarm by going out a door that they weren't supposed to open. So I look around at all the people that continue to work. I'm like, we're the rebels. I'm like, we are the ones that aren't going to be moved by every little thing that like comes like, oh, you got to, we're the ones. And I, in that moment, felt proud. In that moment, I felt like, yeah, guys, let's keep working out. Let's not let that, and it kept going. It was really loud too. And so the people that didn't have headphones on, I'm sure it would have been, who knows what would have happened to me if I didn't have my headphones on. If I didn't have those precious headphones listening to my Slim Shady. So, what else is new? By the way, if you ever want to know if you're getting scammed or not, they always use the word kindly. Nobody uses kindly. Kindly get back to me. Like when I was looking for places to live, I would get these offers, like, oh, I found something on Facebook and it looked kind of cool, and I responded to the guy, and he's like, oh, I'm posting this for a friend who's the landlord. Kindly get back to him, blah, and I was like, delete. I've had other people like from the work that I do, if they write me or they always use the word kindly. It's scam. No one talks that way. No one says kindly ever. Like if you've noticed that. So a little, survival tip for you. kindly is not used in that way ever. Okay, before I go, I had this idea. This is awful. But what if there was an Alzheimer's podcast and it was like this old man and he had his podcast, but he has Alzheimer's, so he keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. And so the whole podcast is the same story and the same thing. He forgot that he had mentioned it before. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of Alzheimer's. Like, I've dealt with it before. But the idea that someone would have like a podcast and they forgot what they had said before, so they keep repeating it. My grandpa would talk about, he had Alzheimer's, and he would talk about this skunk. Because, I mean, this is bad. I mean, I had some wild relatives. But for some reason, he would hunt skunks, and then he would for their skins. And then, I don't know why he would do this. And he had this story where I heard it so many times because he kept repeating it. And he always would be like, did I ever tell you about that time when I was skinning that skunk? And he hung it up. I'm sorry, this is gross. But he's like cutting it, like the skin off. And he pierced the bag of the skunk. And it sprayed him. And I smelled like a skunk for months. And Reet, which is my grandma, her name was Marguerite. He always called her Reet. Reet gave me a bath in tomato juice and vanilla extract, and I just smelled like tomato, skunk, and vanilla extract. So it's not funny. Alzheimer's is not funny, but the idea of somebody like repeating their podcast, it's the Alzheimer's podcast for Alzheimer's people, because then the people who have Alzheimer's would listen to their podcast. But the people who are older, they don't listen to those pods. They don't even know what a podcast is. Oh, I don't listen to that. Although I know some people in their 65, a little bit older, they listen, some of those people. But sometimes they're like, oh, I don't even go there. I don't even know how to get on to a podcast, So it's like, so the whole idea is ridiculous and not making fun, So anyway, this wraps up my this episode, the second one of the year, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Talk to you guys later. Talk at you later. Okay, bye you guys.
Sing, 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 sing. Sing, 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 sing. Sing, 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 sing. Sing, 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 sing. Sing, sing, sing.